Hello, welcome to a video where we talk about what EDC did I really use in a week. For an entire week, I logged every piece of EDC I used every single day. Let's talk about it. I've got some realizations. I'm also interested in your feedback. So what did I do? I tracked every use of EDC in a week. I logged the tool, the function, and the purpose. And then afterwards, I kind of looked at what happened. I came up with a list of variations and realizations. What are we counting? We're counting my multi-tool, my knife or box knife, my pin, my flashlight, my Prybar. You know, what I carry evolves over time, but this is what I was carrying during this period of time. What I excluded was my wallet, my keys, my earphones, my phone. I'm not going to ever include that, or not generally, because I need all that stuff. I use it all the time. On the left-hand side, this is the stuff we can negotiate over and may evolve over time. So let's talk just a second about objects used versus function used. So a tool is my Leatherman Charge here. So on the left, we have my tools, and then on the right, we have functions. The function of a Leatherman Charge may be the pliers. The tool is the Leatherman multi-tool. The function is the pliers. The function can be performed by several different objects in many cases. And in this case, I have some real overlap between my Prybar and my multi-tool. So we'll point that out as we go along because they skew some of the numbers. So during the week I tracked this. These are the number of times I used my tools. So my box cutter, my flashlight, and my Prybar are each used 6 times. My multi-tool I used 4 times, and my pin I used 2 times. This Prybar and multi-tool are skewed a little bit because a lot of the times I used my Prybar, it was actually for screwdriver purposes. But so this number on my multi-tool would have been higher in the past if I had not been carrying a Prybar that fulfilled the function, or a tiny little pocket screwdriver I have running around here somewhere that I've carried on and off for a number of years. Here it is right here. So this little screwdriver, which I've carried from just on and off. I picked it up at an electronic supply probably 20 years ago, and it's one of those things that I often carry. So there you go. That's our list. Those are the tools I used. Then the functions I used. So the functions I used, the flashlight and the box cutter I used 6 times each. The screwdriver and the Prybar I used 3 times each. The wire cutter, small screwdriver, all and pliers I used 1 time each. So it's interesting to see the fall off here because it seems almost like there's a pretty clear cut line of where I kind of like the functions that I critically need to have on me versus the ones that I may be able to, futz with or work around if it really was needed, such as a small screwdriver I use to repair my glasses, which in that case, I probably could have just have waited and went and found a small screwdriver. So after looking at all this, one of the things I realized is that if you really wanted to go hardcore on cutting down your EDC, you could just get a really good multi-tool with all the functions you need. Your phone for a flashlight, which I do not like using my phone as a flashlight. It doesn't have the distance I want outdoors, and inside I find it kind of awkward to deal with. But you could use your phone and as a flashlight, and then a pin. Multi-tool, phone, pin. That's all you'd really need. And, I think there's even some EDC organizers that fit this kind of setup exactly, where you have your multi-tool and your pin right in an EDC organizer. So the no multi-tool minimal variant that I came up with. So if we kick the multi-tool off the island, what are we left with? Well, flashlight, knife, pin, screwdriver, pliers, and Prybar. The only thing I wasn't carrying was the pliers. So that's an interesting thing. Maybe I should look into trying a variant or getting a set of EDC pliers and seeing how well I can navigate if I don't carry a multi-tool at all. I've never really carried EDC pliers other than on a multi-tool, but I think that's usually because I have a multi-tool somewhere within reach. But this would be an interesting version, especially for us more gear-inclined people to experiment with more stuff and more setups. So the realizations I took away: I used everything. No tool went unused. But some stuff I just didn't use that much. And almost all of it could have been replaced by a really good multi-tool. But I'm a gear junkie, so that just ain't going to work. I have to keep tinkering and keep messing with different pieces of gear because that's what I like to do. So what's the next steps for me? I think an analysis over a longer period of time would be interesting, especially whenever I've got projects going like house projects or car projects or garage projects, or I'm camping or traveling. Like that changes what I need on a day-to-day basis. And there's going to be a different group of things I would carry. Like typically whenever I'm traveling, I don't carry a knife. And the main reason I don't is because knife laws are variable depending on where you are. And then on top of it, I prefer to never be caught in the TSA and end up having a knife in my pocket accidentally. So I'm very diligent in assuring they either go into my checked luggage or I don't carry them at all. The other thing is there's other tools that I often use, which I don't know how other people are, but I use a tape measure multiple times a week. There's this little tape measure here. I bought a bunch of these off Amazon at one point, these little fabric tape measures, and I've carried them on and off for a while, but sometimes in my jacket pocket or somewhere else. But what I really need, and I use at least once a week, is a tape measure that has at least 3 feet. It's got to have at least 3 feet. So like a Leatherman's built-in tape measure, which they often have. This one has one right here on the edge, or like an EDC little ruler. These are okay. But whenever I'm measuring things, I'm typically trying to measure much larger spaces. And so I really want a real tape measure. So I have some metal ones, but they're too bulky to carry. So I got these, and this seems to be about the right compromise. But at the same time, it would be really nice to be able to carry it without sticking it in my pocket. It was an interesting exercise. I'll do it again in the future. I'm interested to know what other people think of this type of thing, and whether or not whether or not you're kind of like the EDC minimalist, or like always got to carry all the gear. Like I don't carry things like a first aid kit on me because I know I've always got one in my car if I really need it. Those types of things. So, interested to know your thoughts. Leave a comment below if you have any comments, or you'd like to see different variants or additional detail on these exercises. And like this video if you liked it. Thanks. Have a great day.